Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Extravaganza with yours truly, Captain Lou, and my tag team partner, the winner of the steak dinner. Thanks to Ed Hockley or whoever the head referee was.
Wasn't it?
Mitch, congratulations on the big win. Steak of your choice when you come over and watch the Tigers play in Comerica Park next summer.
Well, we're hoping to get there. Listen, I will enjoy that steak dinner, but probably mostly enjoy your company and maybe our wives too.
Exactly.
I actually looked at the schedule, and I don't know what we're doing yet, right? But yeah, that was a heck of a game. The defenses showed out, some horrendous coaches' decisions, and it was a very interesting game. So we'll see what happens the rest of the season. I think the Eagles will. Yes, we know that the Eagles will prevail in that division, and the Lions probably will too, right? Lou, are you there?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you buzzed
for a second. Sorry about that. No, I can't take anything away. All kidding aside, I thought both defenses played very well. I thought Detroit's defense played better than what I expected. I'm glad I didn't take the over on that game because I thought about it. But, you live and die by going for it on fourth down if you're a Detroit Lions fan. And, boy, we died by it Sunday night, didn't we? 0 for 5 or whatever it was.
He kept doing it. It was crazy. Just take the freaking points.
Take the points, pin you guys back deep on a punt. I mean, analytics is taking over everything. Baseball, football, basketball. I mean, I don't know if so much hockey yet, thank goodness, but the other three sports, it's taken it over. There's no mid-court jump shot anymore. With baseball, we've talked about it ad nauseum, and I'm sure our first guest in a little bit, Chad Durbin, will probably concur with us that analytics maybe has taken a little too much of the game away. But I don't know. I'm excited for the rest of the year, though, Mitch, because I think the Lions are still going to be all right. They're going to get Laporta back in 3 weeks, and they've got 3 home games in a row right now, which I believe are winnable. You got the Giants. We got the Giants, and we got the Dummies on Thanksgiving, and then the Cowboys on the following Thursday. So
the Dummies.
That's what we call each other up in the UP Packers. The Packer fans call the Lions the Dummies, and that's what we call the Packers. So
interesting. I didn't know that. That's a good trivia question.
Oh, Mitch, it's, since we're not going to be on Thanksgiving week, that used to be when I was a kid. Munising, I grew up in a town called Munising. Is about 3,500 people. There was a guy that owned a beer distributorship, the Miller distributor there. He would charter one bus for Packers fans and one bus for Lions fans to go down to Lambeau to watch the game every year. And they would have a weekend tickets, the whole 9 yards. My mom and dad used to go all the time. And so you were either, it was like a national holiday when they did this a year. So it was
absolutely
awesome.
Well, for everybody else too. I mean, that's what it was. It was Thanksgiving game, and it was, that was fun to watch. I mean, every game now is fun to watch.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving. We all look forward to it. All the football fans love doing that.
Yeah,
and the coaches' decisions, like you said. I mean, Sirianni not punting on their own 30-something. You know what? Make him go. That could have ended up as a disaster. I mean, really, that was just the dumbest thing. One of the dumbest things he's done. He's done a lot of dumb things this year, and that was surely something that, why do you not take the easy way out? Punt the ball down the field, make them go a decent amount of yards, to get into scoring position. And take time off the clock because they had no timeouts left either. They had no timeouts left. It was ridiculous.
I don't get it. It's like everything else, Mitch. It's just a different mindset. I mean, I love Dan Campbell. What he's done in Detroit is obviously he's turned the culture around. And I think us as Lions fans have starting to get spoiled a little bit. It's kind of we've gotten a taste of what it's like to have a winning mentality, something that Philadelphia's had for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay's had for decades and whatever. I mean, and so, but it's you got to be smart about it, especially in these big games. I get it earlier in the year, go for it on 4th and 3 on the 38-yard line or whatever. But when you're in your own territory, and then when you got a chance to get 3 points, I go back to that championship game. Everybody complains about him not kicking that field goal on 4th and 2, but he was like successful 85% of the time. But that's I think teams are kind of getting hip on it.
Yeah.
Down. There's no surprise factor anymore.
No, there really isn't. And like you said, analytics, even in football, analytics say go for it. Analytics say this. What about looking at your team and whether or not you think you have the ability in their mindset at that particular time to do it? That's what's taken, like you said, that's what's taken over. And it has, I won't say ruined, but made more people question why these decisions are made. We're not in the room. We're not there on the sideline. We're not in the dugout. Obviously, we're not in the back rooms with the analytics people, mostly kids, from what I understand, who know this computer stuff and have put all these things in the algorithms. And you should go for this. But again, and we can talk to Chad about this in a little bit. Get a feel for your players and what they can and can't do. I was not, when I think it was Kepler, was managing the Phillies, and he wouldn't put a closer. He didn't designate a closer. That's a specific mindset.
Yeah,
right?
It is. You're right.
Everybody has to know their role. If you're not set up for that role to deal with that pressure, you're not going to succeed. Why are you putting him in positions that they won't necessarily be able to succeed in? And I couldn't believe we went the whole year and no designated closer. You still need to have a closer, some guy with the attitude that can say, boom, I'm going.
Oh, that's Detroit too. They really didn't have one. They kind of floated a couple around. But speaking of baseball real quick, I know Chad's warming up in the bullpen. We'll get him on here. We caught a lot of fervor with the MVP voting, and I'm just going to put it out there. I know I pissed off a lot of Yankees fans last week, but you know what? It is what it is. And you'll never convince me that if Cal Raleigh wasn't wearing pinstripes or the Red Sox across his chest, he wouldn't have got MVP with that kind of season he had. And Yankees fans don't realize that the advantage that they have with their media and the East Coast bias. I mean, I'm not saying it's not earned because they won 28 championships, but Aaron Judge, to me, he got the MVP because of his good reputation. And I'm just putting it out there. And he had a great year. Was he player of the year? Maybe, yes, but you'll never convince me that Cal Raleigh wasn't more valuable to his team than Aaron Judge was to the Yankees.
And Lou, maybe you and I don't know maybe that's what I don't know. What does value mean to a team? Like I said before, if the Phillies don't have Schwarber, they don't get where they were. They don't get there. He was the most valuable. Bryce Harper was not. He had a down year. Nobody else on that roster can you say, besides some of the pitchers, and they were really, really good. I don't think they went to the caliber of great and most valuable.
Yeah.
But Schwarber was.
I'll tell you what, without any further ado, let's put him on the spot.
Let's get our most valuable player for tonight.
MVP in right now. Let's see let's put him his feet right to the fire. Who was your MVP, Chad, in the American League and the National League?
It was Cal Raleigh for me.
Oh, there you go.
And it's been since '78, I think, since they've done a co-MVP.
Yeah. And
this is the only time I can remember. I was born in '77, so I was around in '78, but I wasn't paying attention, obviously. I think it's the only time I would have been okay with it. Yeah. It totally would, only because I know when you look at Judge's year, it's historic also, but he didn't play the catcher's position. And I was a pitcher, and knowing what catchers go through, the time that they take out of their day to go to a pitcher's meeting or meet with a starting pitcher, miss some rounds, of BP. Maybe they have to get there a little earlier. They don't get the same, schedule to eat and really knock everything out they need to. He was just, he was my most valuable player. And I honestly, I mean, I know Shohei's a unicorn, on all the stats and he draws so well. But even if it was him versus Shohei, like we almost have like another co-MVP argument.
Mm-hmm.
Like one guy pitched and hit and was phenomenal. The other guy caught and hit.
Yeah.
And hit 50. What was it? 55?
So.
Count the playoffs. It was 60. It was,
yes.
And I don't know. I just like, there's a little bit of the romance of it, maybe it's just, the storyline was better. I mean, Judge is almost too good for his own, because it almost doesn't feel like we should give him that credit. Right. He's damn good, and it is what it is. But Cal Raleigh, it for a catcher to do that. We watch JT get beat up. We watch all these other catchers get beat up. Mm-hmm. That's a full year. Like it's thinking about like Cal, not Raleigh, but Cal Ripken going through that stretch where you get nicked up as a shortstop. You get hit back in those years, man. They were throwing in and catching you on the elbow, and you're coming to the yard the next day nicked up. As a catcher catching, this analytics wave of arms, throwing 100, spiking heaters, throwing splitties. Like, imagine what his thumbs are feeling like.
My God.
You know what I mean? So I just, I hated it. We run a pitching academy, and all these young kids that love baseball, they come in, they ask, and you got some Yankees fans, and I just try to tell them, you don't have any clue what it takes to do what he did. Yeah. And it's not sustainable for a long, long period of time, as to be a catcher and switch hit and do all those things. So it needs to be valued at a really high level. And it would have been, like I said, go back to exactly what I started with. Co-MVP, it would have probably gave us all more to talk about.
Yep.
But in our heads, it almost was a better storyline. Sucks for him because he doesn't get the award. Right. Almost a better storyline that he didn't get it. Because everybody has got their hands in the air and they're like, what the hell? That really like maybe just values that a little bit differently. So that was my opinion. And it makes for a good argument around the kids and, paint a picture of how hard a 162 game season is, plus playoffs, plus spring, and a shortened off season now for him this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's going to be interesting to see how he deals with it next year too. It's not a long time for, especially a catcher. I mean, listen, you guys play 100. I mean, it's crazy. I go to this and I played on my JV baseball team, right? We played maybe 18 games. Getting changed, going to practice every day, getting changed into our uniforms for the games, riding the bus. Back then, even for me, Chad, when it was our last game of the season, I was mentally exhausted. I mean, I didn't play a lot, but I was just the day-to-day, boom, 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 all the time, same stuff, uniform, bus, practice, homework, get it all done. And what you guys do a million times more, I mean, you have to be in great shape. You have to be really good at shape. So it's more of for me, it's more of a, holy crap, these guys, it's you. And now, as you know, and it was for you before too, maybe would you take a month or two off, but still had to stay in shape?
No, I guess when I was younger, I went straight into you're at home watching the playoffs. If I was with the Royals, we weren't in the playoffs. So you're watching Roger Clemens on the bump and you're like, I'm getting back in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm going to go work on this next pitch and try to get better. It only till I was older, and you've seen Marucci bats all over the place, but Jack Marucci is actually the namesake. He's LSU football's head trainer, believe it or not, who created this bat company with these other guys. And he told me, he said, look, we have a ton of analytics and data on just player health and stuff with football, and he's a baseball fan first and foremost. He said you need to take like a good 3 or 4 weeks completely off of anything. Maybe go for a walk, maybe take a jog, but don't put the stress on your body. Take the time off. And it really, like my career, it was 17 years, 14 years in the big leagues. And my back half of my career was a lot better, partly because I got better and steroids, exited stage left and all these different reasons. But I also learned how to manage all of that.
Right.
And didn't get nicked up as much. Back half of the career, I had a couple hamstrings and stuff like that. But that's because I thought I was fast and I got, couldn't do it anymore. But I mean, it really is. The management of it is, knowing when to hit the gas, knowing when to take a day, play light catch instead of air it out every day. And if you get better and better and better at that, and you have to coach the young guys up, these 23-year-olds that come up are just shot out of a cannon. And you watch them throw 20, 30 pitches in the bullpen as hard as they can just to go out and pitch. And they throw 7 pitches, and the next day they're sore. It's like, you're going to learn to manage that. We'd throw 3 or 4 down the pen and say, hey, call down, tell them I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But exactly. It is a learned process for sure.
All right. So I came prepared to talk about 2008. I got this. Woo! It seems like yesterday, Chad. I mean, I go back and it was amazing. I want to go through a little bit of that with you. Start with your career first. So you win it. I'm curious to know Kansas City, Cleveland, Arizona, Detroit, Phillies, and Atlanta after that. I'm so curious to know. It's got to be crazy and hard to do those changes every 2 to 3 years, personally. Number one. Number two, culture. I always want to know, you hear the word the culture. Is it different from team to team? And what's the difference? The culture here is great. Everybody loves the guys. Everybody loves you hear it. But what are your takes on all of that?
So I immediately, as soon as you say Kansas City, obviously I was there from 96, 99 in the big leagues. And then 02, I got hurt and Tommy John surgery and ended up coming back. It's funny. Allard Baird was the GM. He's a good buddy of mine. Muzzy Jackson was the minor league director, and he was supposed to call me right after Alex. I had no options left, so I was not going to be on the roster for an entire year with no options. So Muzzy was supposed to call me right after I got off the phone with Allard. He never called. And Mark Shapiro was the GM in Cleveland a couple days after Christmas. It was the 22nd of December. I got, option or tendered or whatever, non-tendered. And he calls. He's like, hey, do you want to go back to Kansas City? I was like, that's what I was assuming was going to happen. And he goes, well, we're rebuilding here. We got a pretty good, we traded Tommy to the Phillies. We got a little, pull from that. We got CC. We got all these guys. It might be a good run here. We've tried to trade for you. They wouldn't do it. And I said, well, you know what? Screw them. Yeah, let's go. Let's go to Cleveland. And I say it to, when you say Kansas City, we had Johnny Damon in center, Jermaine Dye in right field. We had Carlos Beltran in center. They moved Johnny to left. Mm-hmm. We had Mike Sweeney at first. We had, but the timing was off. And you've seen this with the Phillies, or you've seen this with other teams. The staff wasn't ready at the same time as the position players. Mm-hmm. And that's, I saw it all kind of sync up with Philly. The right pieces were put in place. Cole Hamels was really good. You had that young core that was growing into their late 20s. And that's what creates culture. The culture was phenomenal in Kansas City. We just couldn't pitch well enough to get them wins. Mm. And so we just flowed around 75 to 80 wins. And it wasn't like today where you could probably have bought your way to 83 wins and got in. That's a completely different thing. The culture in Arizona was terrible. I think they tried to slip me through waivers in 03 on August 30th. Because Cleveland, it was me or Cliff Lee. They chose Cliff. I get it. That's I would have taken Cliff too. But they tried to slip me through, and boom, Arizona. We had 100 losses, 110 losses that year. It was just a big unit of a bunch of guys nobody had ever heard of. But went out there and they had just won, in 01. And so you had guys get hurt and all that stuff. But I was able to be around that for a minute, and then the next year. I ended up that was 04. I think in 05, I was with the Nationals first year. And then in 06, I go to Toledo, but I was in spring training with the Tigers, and they were loaded. They were really good. They ended up going to the World Series that year and losing. And I was, I guess an alternate there. So I have a ring, but I was only up for September. I threw 199 and 2/3 innings in Toledo, waiting to go to the big leagues. And I just shoved the whole time. It was like, what do I have to do? They're like, you can't do anything. Those guys up there, Verlander and Kenny Rogers, all those guys. But the culture you could tell in spring training with those guys, Jim Leland, who obviously is just really good at managing that type of stuff, honesty and straightforward. It was a clubhouse full of a combo of young guys like Granderson, and Gary Sheffield's and Pudge Rodriguez's and Placido was there. It was just a really good culture. And then you had the pitching staff that was loaded and some young guys like Andrew Miller and Joel Zumaya. So they kind of timed it up, and they just didn't win. And then in 2007, I was up all year with them. I went 6-2, threw pretty well, but I kept getting jockeyed back and forth because I was a legitimate fifth starter, maybe a 4 on a bad team. On that team, I was a 5 or a 6. So there are no 6 starters. So you get jockeyed back and forth. And Andrew Miller would get called up, and obviously he's 6'8" and throws 100. So, and Kenny Rogers had a blood clot. So I got to start for a little while, but it was that culture kind of got me ready to climb into the 08, 9, and 10 culture. And Pat Gillick saw it. And he said, okay, I like guys that have been in this grinder a little bit. They've figured out their career. They know who they are to bring in. And that was guys like me. Jeff Jenkins was on the backside of his career, but could possibly start if Worth doesn't take off. And Worth ended up taking off. And guys like Jeff taught guys like me how to handle when Adam Eaton was not doing well. And I love Adam. He handled shrapnel better than most people in Philly. But I wanted to be that fifth starter. We were scoring 6 runs a game. All you had to do is go out there and go 5 2/3 and let the bullpen come spill in. They're going to score more. You probably go like 12-6, and you're a 10-game plus winner, and you end up getting paid a lot more. But Jimmy Williams, bench coach, Charlie, they talked to me. I was actually hitting. I was in the Turtle hitting with the starters because they were getting ready for me to possibly jump in. And they said, we think you can do a better job for this team. And some of the position players we've referenced agree. If we can shore up that 6th, 7th inning and truly get 0s or just 1s and not 4s or 5s, we're going to score against their pen.
Yeah.
We're going to bridge the gap there. And I remember Utley saying, man, if you could just keep it at a 1 here, look who's warming up for them. That's on the mound grabbing rosin and being like, hey, we're going to light this dude up. Just find a way to get out of this inning with 1 run. And that was what I saw. Like the culture was all about, I don't care who does this. We just need to win.
Right.
And the next man up and just owning that role to me was my own little microcosm of it. But it's me being able to show and Jeff Jenkins being able to show that this is what we need to do to win. Because I didn't come here. I would have gone to Pittsburgh if I wanted to start and throw 200 innings.
Right.
And look, Jim Leland and Dave Dombrowski told me that's probably your best move. Dave DeLucci called me and said, don't go to Philly. You're too nice. They're going to eat you alive. I had a bunch of guys tell me, don't go to Philly.
That's interesting.
And I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, but I always pitched better under duress and in stressful moments. I mean, a lot of times I pitched myself into them, which sucks. But, you know, the reality was, and Jim Thome kind of said it, he's like, you can be 3 for 3 and punch out in a big spot, and you're going to catch a couple boos. And he said, I kind of liked it. It's different than Cleveland. It's different than Kansas City. It's different than, you know, because I would run polls after a bad start. And in Kansas City, they're like, hey, keep going. You got this. That's not what happens in Philly. Like that's you don't get to go get a sub the next day. You don't get to go get, you know, anything. And and I liked that. I really responded well to it. I guess I understood it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm booing myself in my own head.
Right.
And that was the Philly culture. I know the culture kind of matches the city. It has to. And the same culture that exists in Philly or Boston, I kind of compare those two. New York, yes and no. You know, but that's not what LA and San Diego are like. Yeah. And they have their own cultures. And obviously, you know, LA's doing it really well. But I think, and Jim Leland kind of leaning on his fungo, kind of talking to me, I said, man, the chemistry here is fantastic. He said, you show me a team that's winning and I'll show you chemistry. Yeah. I'll show you culture. This stuff corrodes and falls apart really quick if we start losing. It does. And he's obviously, that's the same thing as a fan. I watch games as a kind of a fan, a former big leaguer, but I'm a fan. I really enjoyed watching, I guess, the top third of the league play. Right. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed watching Philly. Look, when Wheeler went down, I kind of crossed us off the list. I didn't think we had a shot, but I did enjoy watching AJ's Tigers play. I enjoyed watching the Blue Jays play, kind of an older brand of baseball. The two teams with the best pitches seen per at bat and the best batting averages in the league faced each other in the World Series. Right. And it was, you know, kind of, you know, threw me back to the kind of baseball that needs to be played in the playoffs. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter that you throw 100 or that you have the best exit velocity or whatever. And I look at Freddie Freeman as a perfect example of this. Obviously, we've watched him grow up with Atlanta and we've seen, but he is in the bottom 5% in the league in bat speed. He does not swing but he can. But here's the opposite side of that coin is he is in the top 5% in barrel percentage. So he has learned, just like we've seen a lot of guys learn in their older age. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
When it's time to light one up, he does. But he's okay with just barreling the piss out of a lot of baseballs and hitting 300 every year. And that's valuable.
That's exactly right. I mean, again, Lou and I, Lou's a Detroit fan, by the way. He's outside of Detroit. Growing up, yes, that was it. You would go, and I'm thinking also, go the other way. You know what?
Yeah.
Stop pulling the freaking ball. Make contact. You saw that in the World Series. And I'm sitting there going, you know, chase rate. Bryce Harper had a chase rate of 35%. And
it makes it look, it's damage. When you make a mistake and a guy hits a home run, you kind of just like, yeah, it sucked. Give me a ball. I'll figure this out. But when you throw your pitch over and over again and guys foul it off or they shoot a ball the other way, it stresses you out.
Yeah.
And when the guy gets on first after an at bat like that and the next guy does it, it compounds the stress. And I always would look at the pitch counts up on the board, whether we're in Philly or Pittsburgh or wherever.
Right.
And you'd always see I'd pay attention. Hey, he was at 55 to start the inning. He's at 81 right now.
Yeah.
Like he's about to give us 4 or 5 runs because he's tired. He's faced 7 hitters now. They're smelling blood. Versus today, it's like big daddy hacks and maybe we get it and all that stuff. I was thinking about this, Lou. You'll appreciate this. Al Kaline was ever present in Detroit in 06 and 07. I have a baseball 10 feet from me that I made him sign at the end of the year just because he was just phenomenal. But in the 08 season, I ran across him in Lakeland and he just said, hi, man. I hope y'all tear it up. And they were loaded that year. I thought we might get Phillies Detroit.
Yeah.
They went out and got Miggy. They went out and got Dontrell. They got rid of the freaking Durbin kid. They, all that stuff. And so we go out and we win. They don't make the playoffs. Yeah. And in 09, I'm walking the apron in Lakeland. And you got their staff who still knows me. I get a couple highs. Al Kaline jogs out to where I was, kind of by the first base coach's box. And he grabs me, and he's probably 75 at the time, lifts me up, and he goes, screw those guys screw these guys for letting you go.
Wow.
You know, we need glue guys, and you're a glue guy. And I mean,
wow.
I mean, my heart was this big. I mean, that's not Joe Schmo. That's Al Kaline, right?
Yeah.
So it just, and stuff like that matters a ton. And he knew culture. He knew what we were doing. And even if I'm just throwing long relief, I got along with everybody. And I think you need guys that buy into that.
Oh, yeah.
For culture.
Absolutely.
And I look at the Phillies team and there's some guys on the roster. And I mean, because I'm a former player, I have a rough time like Metallico and stuff and just like, and I played with Ricky in Kansas City. He is what he is. That's how he is.
Yeah.
When he's sitting at breakfast, that's how he is on air. That's just, he's shot out of a cannon and is going to say what he's thinking. Right. And there's certain guys on the roster, and I'm sure you can think of them, that they're great guys. The team loves them, but I don't know if they fit culture.
Okay.
You know, and I think it's okay to cut bait. I think it's harder to cut bait when their metrics fall into a certain bucket and it's like, oh, we can't let this guy go because he has potential to go 30 and 100 and hit 275 or whatever. But I don't know if they fit the culture to continue to win. Yeah. And there's some guys out there that could replace those positions and they do fit. And you know, that's why going back to that 08, 9, I thought 10's culture was, you know, 09 team we were the best team in baseball. We just got beat. And you know, we did have the bird flu going through both teams. It wasn't like it was just the Phillies, but I got sick. Other guys got sick. Wow. And so both teams were at like 90% of their whole. I thought the World Series in 09 felt more like a World Series because it was Yankees. I mean, they're playing Philly and it's just, you know, just the artists before game, the amount of media. They shut down Broadway for us to get to our hotel. Like it was really cool. And it was a lot of really known names.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Tampa was phenomenal. Like they were loaded and we look back at their roster and it's a lot of guys that played for a long time. And we were just on fire after beating the Mets to get in. Mm-hmm. And you see that a lot with, you know, teams. We got hot. We were hot in 09. We played really well. And I thought in 10 we were invincible. And then you run into Baumgartner throwing it from, right field in Lincecum, Timmy got us.
Yeah.
But every team that beat us won the World Series.
Right.
Obviously the Yankees did because they did it in front of us.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it was going to take a lot, to chop us down.
Right.
Because it was tough at bats like that. It was guys coming in and doing their job, not giving free bases, making you earn it. Yep. And that's the difference between why I like electricity. I like watching guys throw 100. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I do. I think a lot of fans
win though.
Chad, when I remember, because the Phillies didn't have anybody until Billy Wagner came on, and Lou, I don't know if you remember when you saw your first 100 with the pitch lighting up on the scoreboard. People were waiting in the stands for that scoreboard to go 1-0-0, and then the huge everybody went nuts.
I think
so when he did that, it was like, holy crap. And when you're watching at home and all of a sudden it goes to the scoreboard 100, people love that crap. It was, yes, Chad, that we didn't have that when we were growing up. I mean, who knew how much Hart Seaver and Koufax and Gibson were throwing, right? But we know what 100 looks like, and we can see it.
Oh, you had Matt Anderson back in the early 2000s throwing 100.
Yeah. Joel Zmaya.
And Joel Zmaya was throwing 105.
Yeah.
And when he warmed up in the pen, the rest of us thought about, like, accounting's probably a good profession. Like, you just need to stop throwing a baseball. This is unbelievable.
Somebody figure out how to slip, pour some water on the rubber. He slips. No, we don't want to get anybody hurt. All right, Chad, we got to move on for a second.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple of things. Because the last thing I want to talk about is to get your thoughts about this potential lockout. Because that's from a player's perspective. What have you seen? What do you go through? But the new rules. The one I know we all hate. I think we all hate it. Is the second, man on second.
Yeah, I'm. I love that in the playoffs it didn't exist.
Yeah.
It almost catches me still today. It catches me off guard. I'm watching a game. It goes into the 10th, and I see a guy come check second. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, there's a guy on second. He's on my screen, and my first thought was always like, is that an earned run if it scores? As a player. But right. I just thought that manufacturing your own run. I thought the advantage comes to, kind of the visiting team gets the first shot at. Yep. Throwing a blow there. And I've always felt like if you throw a 0 up, your guys got the advantage. Your guys are going in there and getting to take some hacks. So that one's the least of my, as long as it's not part of the playoffs, and maybe they need to eliminate it in September too. I don't know. There's no way to just take a tranche of the season and do that. Yeah. I don't like the limited amount of picks to first. Yeah. And I don't like having to face 3 guys. I do like the pitch clock. I didn't think I would. I don't mind it at all. I do think, and I remember talking to Aaron Nola about this, and I say, man, if you're in an 0-2 count and you want to pick over there a couple times and then let the clock expire to maybe, take a young hitter who's proggy and wants to go get it and just freeze them out. Hey, get a pitch clock violation and buy the extra 15 seconds. But it's been manageable. I think it has sped up games. Because Steve Traxel back in the day used to human rain delay.
Oh my gosh.
It was hard. Like I'd rather listen to it on the radio, maybe go take a crap. I don't want to watch this guy do this.
Exactly.
So but yeah, those rules I think a lot of it has been better than I thought it would be. I don't know about the ABS coming. I have seen it in action, and I liked, this will never happen again, but I liked building relationships with umpires.
Okay.
And if I could hit that same spot, or he balls me on a call that should be a strike and I don't show him up, and they walk down the line and they say, hey man, I missed that. I won't miss another one. You throw it a couple, inches off the edge. I'm going to give you the next couple because you handled yourself well. That's the human element that's going to go away. You're really going to see whether the one knee on the catchers is that important, because they won't need to frame a pitch anymore.
Yeah.
It's just going to be what it is. So anyway, I'm jumping into it before you even got there. But yeah, some of that is going to be on that CBA list of things we fight for.
All right. So you mentioned that. Let's go to that. Again, it's all about the money. I took a quote here from Evan Dralick's salary cap is the big issue. Club officials both criticize the state of the competitive balance in Major League Baseball, while simultaneously, hold on, let me get my reading.
Get the readers. Let's
Oh
go.
my God.
Chad, let me ask you real quick. As a union president that I am, when they started getting ready for negotiations, like with you guys for a new CBA, the MLB body, your union's the strongest I've ever seen. How much input did the players really give to the committee, the bargaining committee, your player reps? Did you get input from like 10% of the players? How was the participation with that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's heavily encouraged to be involved. And so you have a rep and an alternate on every team. And those guys do a really good job, not just because it's hard, talking as like a 25-year-old around your peers, and your peers are future Hall of Famers is tough. But those guys did a great job of presenting information, giving their opinion, opening up the forum, and then saying, if you're not comfortable talking to me right now, come up and talk to me individually. Let's do out during BP, come grab me or whatever. And so the dialogue and the information exchange of information and kind of that, chain of custody of information was just handled really well. And, we've always stood our ground. We also have guys in place that were willing to negotiate for the better good. A work stoppage is not good.
Right.
It's terrible. And we saw that it's taken almost, 30 years from 94 to really feel like baseball's climbed back out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's had its moments, but it really feels like right now popularity and viewership, it's on the climb.
Way up.
And fighting to give up just a little bit to get a lot more is worth it. And I think the owners always, we would hear, like, it's been a long time since the stoppage. They know these guys have never had to worry about because most of them have made money or they're in big leagues. You have great, and we have, money, buckets of money put away so that guys can make it through a stoppage, and so everything's set up really well, but they know, are these guys going to cross lines? I don't think we have any reality of guys crossing lines now because they've been so well educated, but that's the first thing that happens. I remember guys that crossed the line being in a clubhouse, and the old veterans were, they were, I'm not going to be in the same room with that piece of crap. And you're like, whoa, okay. Like, this is real. This isn't just us going through the motions. So I think the union has done such a good job. I think we all have, not all, I would say a good 20 to 30% of the guys have a pretty good understanding of the history of the union, which makes you stand your ground a little bit more and want to participate. You appreciate the guys. You're standing on their shoulders, and then you're getting paid a lot of freaking money. It was not, I got in the league and it was maybe 99,000. It could have been up to 149. And now guys are making 750 when they walk in the door.
Right.
So all of that is worth fighting for. Yeah. But I do think that a salary floor, forcing other teams to have to spend a certain amount of money to be competitive, because I've seen the books, everybody makes money. Nobody's hemorrhaging money, and so knowing those things exist helps you make decisions at the negotiation table. Like that's a big deal. Whatever we got to do, kind of Tony Clark is one of he's just a great human being that is going to do the right thing by the players, but there's going to be some give and take. The owners are making money. There's not that, but they also want to sustain, making money. And I think the top tier of teams are able to overspend and because players protecting your union, speak of it. We want to protect the 6, 7, 8, 9-year veteran because they can replace those guys. A 2-war guy, a 1-war guy, they can just go out and replace him with a newbie, and save money. And that's not what the union's responsibility is. I want to protect that guy. How can we get this guy, at 1.3 million a year, 1.5? How can we make him that valuable? How can we protect him? And if there's floors that they have to spend, they're going to keep a couple of those guys instead of go multi-year contract or whatever. And I think it makes them keep some of their guys a little longer, offer some contracts up. But yeah, I think those are going to be, the combination of analytics and baseball. And I know that's part of the negotiations is going to be certain things that they want to wrap into arbitration. Maybe it's a little earlier. Maybe it's not just but there are going to be a lot of things that come at us that they're gonna have to pick their fights, and some of those are gonna be like, hey, we get it, but we want this,
Right.
and we're not gonna get off of this, service time, manipulation, all that stuff.
Yeah, I was talking to I volunteered at Willie Stargell here in Wilmington, North Carolina. They have their foundation golf tournament. A lot of former players came by 2 weekends ago, and I forget who it was. They said, "Well, so what do you think is going to happen?" He goes, "Well, I don't think it's going to go long." He says, "Like I'm reading, viewership was up 19%. The World Series ticket sales were up for the first time 3 consecutive years since 2005 to 2007. So the game is healthy, attendance is healthy." So he said, "I don't think they want to put that in jeopardy. So I think it'll be quick. But how they do it, we don't know. What's going to happen. That's going to take place behind closed doors. But it's interesting, to have a player's perspective on what happens is really cool. That's why I want to have you on, and I thank you for coming on to talk about this, because as fans, we don't really know, right? We have no idea what's going on.
What I guess I was a fan during 94, 95.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to watch when they came back as much. And I love baseball. And I was I didn't understand it. I was like, oh, they're just, they're getting paid all this money. They wanted more. Just I guess the terrible bullet points that you would take away from it. Now that I know that you're not just fighting for yourself right now, you're fighting for the next 10 years, 20 years, like precedence. If we let this precedence be set, then it's permanent. Like that's now the new floor that we're building from.
Mm-hmm.
And every player deserves, to have some floor to build from, and we can't give a whole lot of ground, but we also, we're businessmen. We happen to be our own little LLCs running around.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the way I looked at it. I was the Chad Durbin LLC, and Chase Utley was the Chase Utley LLC. His was worth a little bit more than mine, but at the end of the day, it was, how do we protect ourselves inside of this group? And we want to go to bat for the things that really matter. I really think that some little things that are important to us as players is making sure we want to protect the guys that don't make it, or make it for a very small amount of time to the big leagues. Those minor leaguers didn't really have, the last couple, I guess the last decade, they've really taken care of minor leaguers better.
Mhm.
And they get paid a little better. They have better pension opportunities. They have better ways to, get educated and get discounts on their education on their way out. You can see it with, eligibility in the NCAA. They're trying to push 5 years of eligibility, and even some new things like, if we draft you and you decide to go to college, we kind of the draft and follow that existed a long time ago. You get to draft and follow these guys into their 3 years of NCAA ball. And if they have 5 years, then these guys are leaving college baseball educated. They're not going in as a high school kid, and 7 years after, their career's over in AA, they go back and they're limited on their options. They're married with a kid. They can't really go back to school because they got to go earn some money. And so I think, and Bryce Harper's spoken up about that. And I think a lot of guys are very sentimental because we played with guys that we loved and cared about, and you see them and you're like, man, you had to go straight to doing this out of ball, and you've never stopped. And they're like, I couldn't, I had a family. So if you can give those guys any leverage, I guess maybe that's the, whole person development side, but whatever keeps us a stoppage would be awful for baseball.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
like the fact, I'm interested to hear that you think that there should be a floor, because that's what people that's the thing that I've taken from all of what I've read, that, you're right. That's not going to cost a heck of a lot of money. I mean, it really isn't, right? It's let these guys come in and start at a certain, they have a certain amount of money they can spend. They have to spend this. They got to go at least there.
Yeah. I mean, seeing guys that come up through your system stay in smaller markets for a couple more years, because after 2 years, instead of after 6 years, they decide to extend a 6-year, $80 million deal to a young guy to keep somebody like that in a Kansas City or a Cleveland or a Detroit. That means a lot to the fans.
Yeah.
Getting to know an entire roster all over again every year is tough.
It is tough.
It takes the romance out of it. I want to pull for the guy who had a bad year and came back and had a good one.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't know what that number is. There's people a lot smarter than me, and in those rooms and working for us. But there's a number out there that does work. The luxury tax has been functional,
right?
But man, the people with the most money, you see it, they can go buy 7 starters, 8 starters, and if they know based on biometrics and everything else that these guys are going to blow out, but they're going to have surgery and they're going to come back and they'll be ready in August, right about the time these other guys hit the wall.
Right.
The Phillies could probably do it. The Yankees could probably do it. The Dodgers can do it.
Mm-hmm.
A couple others. And then there's some other teams who are like, no, we need everybody to stay healthy for this perfect storm to actually play out. Well, I think the balance there is, figuring out how to give those other teams the ability or mandate them to have to do a little bit better job.
Right.
Like I said, they're making money. Those teams at the bottom are making money.
They are. Chad, I wish we had more time, buddy. Because I really wanted to talk about where you were when Brad was on the mound with Harry Callis, the 0-2 pitch. I get chills when I say it. It's just one of those things that we continually remember. I was unfortunately at work that night. I had to work. I was like, what am I doing working here? I watched the pitch. I drove home from Coatesville, probably on Route 30, probably going 75 miles an hour, because I wanted to be with my wife and my kids to celebrate. It was amazing. We went to the parade. It was my first parade ever.
On Halloween.
Yes, it was great.
Bunch of people in Spider-Man outfits. Like, what's going on? Is this something Philly does? They're like, no, it's Halloween, dummy. Oh, because it's such a rush and everything's coming at you. I was running in from the bullpen.
Yeah,
I played with Eric Hinsky in Atlanta, and he used to tell "F you, Durbin" every time he saw me.
Love it.
We lost Lou. But yeah, that stuff to me is I relive it. It's hard to believe it happened, to be honest. Yeah. Really hard to believe that, because I have a kid who's actually at Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. Just had Tommy John actually a month ago.
Oh, really?
Got a chance to be pretty good, but and love him to death. But I've had to, with this pitching academy and being around a lot of guys that are getting drafted or playing at a high level, when they were younger, they looked at me like, oh yeah, his dad played in the big leagues. Now they see how difficult it actually is to do what I did, and a handful of other guys that we know. And then I bring them around. And they're like, "Did your dad really played that long?" You're like, "Yeah, I guess so." I mean, I'd live with him. He tells me to wash dishes and take out garbage. But yeah, it was a special time. I thought, Ruben Amaro and Pat Gillick did such a good job putting a roster together.
Yeah.
The right people. The parade was unbelievable. I could still hear, the flatbed trucks. I could still hear the squeaking of the brakes and the honking of the horns. And
how about the beer cans popping?
Yeah, absolutely. We were requesting beer on the deck, and they were throwing them. We were catching them, popping them. It was I just wish incredibly. There's a lot of emotion attached to it, in kind of taking in the scene.
Yeah.
How many people? How much it meant to so many people, and even now. I mean, look, it's been a long time.
Right.
And broadcasting kind of made, did that for a little bit and loved it. I love Philly, but just being like going to the, Best Buy at the time. I mean, Best Buy's barely around anymore, but just somebody seeing you and being like, hey, thank you.
Yes.
I got to live that out with my grandmother, who was a huge Philly, and just all the stories that exist. And I was that kid. My grandmother was a big Cubs fan who passed away in the 90s, but she never got to see the Cubs win.
Right.
And so I do, relate to that stuff. I know how special it is to have a team that goes and wins. And look, we got really good teams in Philly right now.
Yes.
It's hard to win.
It is.
It's really, really hard to win.
It is.
And so the teams that take that for granted, getting the playoffs every year you're in the good old days right now.
Yes, exactly.
It's hard to win.
All right, listen, we have another guest coming on who is also a huge baseball fan. Her name is Anna. She runs a website called Baseball Bucket List, and she has that's her podcast on baseballbucketlist.com. I'm going to show her this map. Well, she's off stage. She can see it in terms of what my daughter bought me for Father's Day. The baseball show, the ballparks I've been to. So we're going to talk to her about how she got her start in baseball, loving baseball, and her podcast. So look her up. Maybe you can get a bucket list in.
Mitch, Luke, appreciate it.
Chad,
Hopefully do it again soon.
Great. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for 2008. It meant a lot to Mike, not only to me, but to my family, my kids, because that was their first championship. So
that's awesome. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure.
Y'all have a good one.
Happy holidays to you too. All right, let's bring her on, Lou.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Thanks for being patient. We appreciate it very much.
Of course. You might not know about me, a huge Tampa Bay Rays fan. So listening to the 2008 saga brought some emotions, but super cool to hear. Always fun to hear about franchises and fans of franchises that finally break through and do something cool like that. So I know it's coming one day.
One of these days.
We'll be patient in the meantime.
Yes, and you got to get a new stadium, right?
We're working on it, right? We have a roof on the on the Trop again. Rumor
hopefully something happens. Yeah. So you saw that pretty cool thing. I had seen your podcast and the website, and it's really, really cool. And but what I want to first ask you is, when did you start loving baseball? How did this all start for you?
Oh, it goes back to being a kid, much like most baseball fans, something that got passed down by my dad, and a love of the game that was passed to him from his mom. So several generations deep. He grew up in Detroit. I was born in Texas, and as a young kid was a pretty rabid Texas Rangers fan until my dad's career took us to the Tampa Bay area. And, at that time, I kind of found baseball again a little later. And we had season tickets for that 2008 season, which was our magical season as well, to go from worst to first in the AL East overnight, essentially. And a wild ride. And that same summer, my dad and we took a trip up to the East Coast, and we went to 5 ballparks up there, including Citizens Bank. And when we got home, I kind of thought to myself, I better go see all 30 of them, like that. 5's not enough. We got to keep it going.
That's awesome.
And that's my bucket list, and I haven't put it on on the website yet, but that is it. I mean, my wife, we've been to, I think, 17 or 18. And it really is something that is so much fun to do. And Lou, I want to come visit Lou in Comerica. He's in Detroit, outside of Detroit.
Yeah.
And to be able to just experience it, to me, it's just so much fun to experience baseball, not in your home park. Yeah. To see not only the ballpark is the primary reason, but what's around the ballpark, what's in the ballpark, right? What you have on your page, or all the things that people can do in and around the cities. What is so obviously the Trop was your favorite?
I wouldn't say.
So what was your favorite? I want to know what you're in the East. I want to put you on the spot. In the East Coast, when you did that trip, what's your favorite? What was your favorite? All right.
So the 2008 trip was, we did Old Yankee Stadium. We did Shea. Those were their last years, of course. We did Fenway. We did Citizens Bank, and we did DC. Okay. So from that trip, I would say my favorite had to have been Fenway, just for the sheer historical aspect of it, you kind of feel like you're walking into a museum when you're there. And that was my favorite from that trip. If you ask me favorite out of all 30,
yes,
I'd say Pittsburgh.
Oh, I was hoping that.
Pittsburgh, we've been. Yes, it's really cool. The problem we had with Pittsburgh, and it was unfortunate, it was so freaking hot the day we went. We had both girls with us, and we were in the sun, and we just couldn't sit out. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So we walked around, and we ended up moving into some shady spots. But yeah, there's nothing like, and I always take this picture. Do you do the same thing? And Lou, do you do this? Go behind, like on the 300 or 400 level and take that picture and do a pano?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
That is the best view that I get, right?
Yeah.
it's because you get, I mean, especially with the view of Pittsburgh, with the bridge and everything, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Anna, let me ask you a question. I'm going to go a little off topic here.
Okay.
Did you play softball at all or baseball?
No, I never played softball. I played Little League baseball up until I was in 5th grade, and that was kind of the point. I played with the boys the whole time because I wanted to play baseball, like
Right.
softball is a different sport to me. 5th grade was about the time that there started to be a little wider of a gap in terms of like athletic ability between me and the boys, and I was also much, much, much better at soccer. So kind of put my head down and focused on that, and actually went up to school kind of near you said Wilmington. So
Yeah.
if you know Bowie's Creek, I am a fighting camel. Campbell University.
Campbell. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I know that name. We went to I think it was an NC State game against Campbell a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The reason I bring it up is, what are your thoughts about the women's professional baseball league starting?
I think it's freaking awesome.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
I have been an advocate of them forever, for years.
Yeah. Super exciting.
I have the draft tomorrow night,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing it live.
Yeah.
I think it's on YouTube, and I forget where else. But yeah, I big proponent of the women's baseball. I actually met several of the women. I drove up to Durham and the ballpark, and they were doing there were a bunch of teams that were playing there at a little tournament, and 8 of the former players were there. Hold on one second. Let me get something so I can show you this. Then we'll get back to the bucket list. So I was able to get these ladies who were there to sign this baseball that I brought.
Nice.
Fort Wayne Daisies and South Bend Blue Sox, Dahlia Vanderlip, Jeannie Lesko, Grand Rapids Chicks, Donna Stageman, the Peoria Red Wings, Patty Pelton, who played a role in the All-American, the League of Their Own.
Nice. Yeah.
Got to get her on the website. She said she'd come on the podcast.
Nice.
Gloria Rogers from the Rockford Peaches, Mary Moore, Springfield Sallies, and the Battle Creek Bells. So it was just so cool.
Yeah.
The level they played. And I was there at the ballpark, and I was trying to get the hold of Isla Borders. Have you heard of Isla Borders? She wrote a book about her being the first woman to pitch in the minor leagues and professional baseball. She was there coaching one of the teams. So I was watching from the side, and this young lady was pitching, and I'm telling you, I was like, holy crap. She had to be throwing 85. I mean, it was nuts. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, when Lou and I grew up, women didn't play baseball. Girls didn't play baseball.
No, it's so weird.
You had to get into the little league, and then you realized, yes, I really can't compete.
Yeah. I don't want to get hurt. That's the the thing.
Right,
but it's so interesting, right? Because like most other professional sports, right? If you think of basketball, it's a very similar sport. I mean, the sport is the same. There's a little bit of differences in like where the 3-point line is and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Tennis, same size. Soccer, same size pitch, same size, same rules, everything. Baseball, softball, like that's the one that's like just a little different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's get back to the bucket list.
Okay.
I know people have an opportunity to put their bucket lists on the website. Do you have any more? Do you have anything? Do you have any more than what's on your bucket list besides mine? Here to visit the ballpark. I have to think of others, but that's the priority right now. I'm going to ask Lou what he's got too.
Yeah.
And what have people said on there?
Oh man, that's been the coolest part of all of it, is because when I started it, I kind of thought, obviously like the 1A list on the bucket list, everybody wants to hit all 30 ballparks, right?
Yeah.
But then you kind of start thinking about some other things that you might like to do. Maybe it's go to the Hall of Fame. Maybe it's go see international baseball in Japan or South Korea, something along those lines. But when I started talking with other fans, I started to learn so much more about the sport that I thought I knew a lot about and loved, That was where I first heard about the Midnight Sun game up in Alaska. town ball up in Minnesota. Like there's so many just things that are so special about the game, even outside of Major League Baseball, which is, I feel like the more people I've talked to, the more I've developed a true love for baseball as opposed to just the Tampa Bay Rays and Major League Baseball. I've really kind of fallen for the game.
Yeah, I mean, Lou, right? I mean, I played Little League, played junior varsity, but I really, 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 really love playing in my men's senior league. I mean, it showed me that I could still play. I mean, it was just so awesome. And then the camaraderie with the guys was through the roof. I mean, it was just so much fun. And we weren't very good, Anna, Lou. We didn't win. We won one game in the 5 years I played on this team.
Oh
one.
boy!
And I missed that game. Okay, so we had one tie. Whoopee! But I mean, it's just, and I really want to do it again. I want to go one more year. I miss it so much. And when I like going to games by myself when I have the opportunity, because you know what? I can do whatever the heck I want. I'm not tied to anybody. Have to go get food. Have to go sit with whatever. When I go to Citizens Bank Park, when I went to Citizens Bank Park by myself, it was great because I could wander and stand. I didn't have a studio seat. I would go out and just relax and have fun just being at that ballpark, whether it's the sights, the smells, the people, obviously the game. It's just so much a part of me as it is for Lou and for you.
Yeah.
It's never going to wane. And my one daughter has picked up the same interest for me. The other one's a football fan. She's all Eagles, right?
Yeah. You can't win them all. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. But the other one is all baseball. I mean, I did a good thing with that one. At least I got one.
Right.
They're twins, so I had to, they had to pick and choose. They picked and chose whatever. Lou, what's on your bucket list?
My bucket list is something that I'm going to do, even if I have to go to by myself, is on a Saturday, go to an SEC football game, a park, on Sunday, an NFL game, and Monday, a Major League Baseball game. Three different environments, three different atmospheres. That's my bucket list as far as going to a sporting event.
That's cool.
My other one would be to go. I've been to Canton, but it's, I was a kid, and I want to go to Cooperstown, and I want to go to Toronto for the Hall of Fame. I'd love to do a Hall of Fame tour.
Yeah.
Those are my two. Those are my two right there.
Anna, have you been to Cooperstown?
I have. It was in that 2008 trip though. So it's been some time since I was up there. And that's one of the cool things about all of this is I went to Fenway in 2008. I just went back last summer, and it's amazing how much not only things change, but also you find you forget, so I think I would like to get back to Cooperstown. I mean, I know I would like to get back to Cooperstown soon.
Yeah. If you go, I would encourage you to go during Hall of Fame weekend, even though it's crowded.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I went twice. Nuts.
Yeah.
It is so cool. The first time we had no idea what was going on. We saw we didn't know that there was the parade on Saturday. The second time we're like, oh my gosh, we got to get there. And it was so awesome. The night before the day they get inducted, this is Saturday night, there's a parade through town. And sometimes the players get out of their cars or off the trucks and they come by and they're signing autographs. Yeah. So the 1 year I went that they did that, I actually had some cards signed. I was like all flustered. Who's coming? Ripton came by. Ken Griffey Jr. came by. I didn't get his because I couldn't find his card. Knucklehead. I didn't organize them like I should have. And then you have all weekend, there are different areas of that main street that are set aside under tents with players signing autographs. You got to pay a little bit. We got a Bill Madlock ball. I paid for him. Denny McClain, I got his baseball. Last and probably never ever be a 30-game winner in baseball. Right. I got a baseball signed by him. And there's so many other players there and things going on. You got to make it. I would encourage you to go that weekend, even though it's crowded. We camped about 30 minutes away. There's actually a place you can get a yurt. It was a yurt campground. Yeah, and it was just phenomenal. So I would definitely encourage you to go that weekend. Lou, you and I got to have to make a trip together.
I would love it, and that's kind of why I think about going to all 4 of the Hall of Fames, because they're not like cross country. I mean, obviously, you got to have a passport to go to Toronto, but it's not an unrealistic expectation. I've been to the Basketball Hall of Fame. That was when I was in junior high, so that was 45 years ago. But and
we're a little old.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Love it.
But we still haven't lost our verve and our excitement for these games, and especially for baseball.
Exactly.
So what else, Anna, can you tell us about? So you started the podcast and the website. So tell us about the website. What can people do on there?
Yeah. So the website is basically a way to kind of keep up with your own baseball bucket list, right? There's a tool where you can type in all the things you want to do. And as you do them, you can like upload photos, maybe write a few words about what you did. You can also check out what everybody else has on their bucket list, and that makes yours like 4 times longer. Like I said, you'll learn about all the things you didn't have any idea you needed to do. So that's one primary component. The other is just tracking ballparks, and similar to the map you showed before you let me in the room here. It's a map of the U.S., actually the whole world. I shouldn't say the U.S. And you can pen any ballpark on it, from all 30 of the major leagues to if you want to put your kid's little league park on there. Like, we don't, I've heard the term, your chase is your chase. There's no rules, no gatekeeping. You do what you want to do. We're just trying to give you a place to kind of keep your memories and share them with other fans.
Mm-hmm. Which is great. And the podcast?
Yeah. So that started, like 4 years ago. And, the idea was just to talk to baseball fans every week and hear 3 things, really. One, how they got started, how they fell in love with baseball. Everybody's got an origin story that's unique to them, and a lot of similarities run through those. But it's always really cool to hear how people fell in love with baseball. Then we talk about their favorite baseball memories, right? Like the thing that really resonates for them. I think I know what yours would be if I had to take a guess based on what I heard to start this conversation. And then we wrap up with like, okay, what's the number one thing at the top of the list? Like, what's the thing you want to do? And the coolest part about all of it, guys, is when someone comes on the show, they say, here's the one thing I want to do. And then 6 months, a year later, 4 years later, who knows, I get to have them back on as they kind of explain what it was like to actually do the thing. That's awesome. Yeah, it's been really special, connected with a lot of really cool people. And you both know, baseball fans are just the best people in the world.
It's fun because, and Lou and I, and you do too, Anna, you can sit down at a ballpark and just have a conversation. I mean, it doesn't have to be your own ballpark, right? Mm-hmm. It can be another team. Your worst. I could go to Atlanta and talk to somebody about the game.
Bold statement from a Phillies fan.
Really, I mean, that's what I love now. I mean, listen, I'm getting to the stage of life where it doesn't make sense to argue. It does. It's just, listen, I will have a fun conversation with anybody. If you start to get crazy, I'm going to just turn the other side. But it's something that brings people together. And actually, I will tell you this: my first memory is what happened. What made me crazy about baseball before I went to. Well, let me put it this way: I loved baseball before I did this, and then it made it even better. My first game was at Shea Stadium at night. Been watching it on TV And then it all becomes, it's like the Wizard of Oz when it goes from black to color, black and white to color. I walked through the concourse aisle and I went, and I stood there. It's like, it's daytime. Look at the dirt. Look at the green grass. Look at the white lines. Oh my gosh, that I will never forget. Okay, then it was, my '69 Mets. That was the first one. Actually, it was the '64 Phillies who collapsed, and I was like, then back then, 10 teams in the American League, 10 teams in the National League. First place wins the pennant.
Right.
Goes to the World Series.
Right.
My team. Absolutely. I admit it. I'm proud of that. I would read the paper, standings, Phillies, up 8 games, up 6, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I became a Mets fan because I was living in North Jersey at the time, moved from Philadelphia area. So 69, magical. Couldn't watch a lot of games because, those back then you couldn't watch your home games every night. But I listened to a lot of games on the radio. Getting and then overtaking the Cubs and getting into the playoffs and then winning the World. Are you kidding me? With Tommy Agee and Ron Swoboda with their catches, Jerry Kuzman. I mean, it was just. And then then from there I moved to Houston, became a Houston fan, and then from there had some fun. They weren't winning, but I was always a fan of them because I got to know some of the players. I ran a sports camp. Some of the players came out to visit the sports camp. Luis Gonzalez, Ken Caminiti, may he rest in peace. Craig Biggio came out to the camp the first day he arrived in Houston. He was driving his brother's white BMW. We talked about this. He came from Smithfield, Long Island to Houston, Texas. I guess he had a DWI, so he had to do this. And he came and talked to our campers. And from then on, I was a Craig Biggio fan. And then moved to the Philly area. And then from 95 to now, I'm a devout, crazy Philly fanatic fan. So that's my baseball history.
Yeah.
And it's just it's in me. I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
And as an older guy now, I can pay more attention. Retired, I can pay more attention to the off season, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Good. I hear that a lot. I think it's always special when, I don't know. I feel like, it used to be moving across the country was kind of a rarity, right? Now it seems to be like something that happens more often. Maybe it's just because I'm paying more attention to it, but I enjoy hearing about baseball fans who can kind of appreciate where they are in the moment, right? Like, I'm a Rays fan, but I'm currently living in Texas. The goal is to get back to the Tampa Bay area, in the near future, hopefully. But while I'm here, I'm going to go see the Rangers play because why would I deprive myself of baseball, So I think it's cool when you can appreciate where you're at and take advantage of what the location has to offer.
Right. My location stinks.
Yeah, right now for you, not great for Major League Baseball, great for minor league baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
Mecca.
Yeah, I'll go to Durham. My wife and I we'll go next summer for sure.
Yeah.
But I will make it up to. I do make it up to the ballpark, Citizens Bank,
Nice.
at least once a year. Hopefully, twice this next year. Lou, how many games do you get to with your Tigers?
About one a year, maybe 2.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I call my wife a sports widow because I do play-by-play high school football and college hockey. So my weekends are taken from Labor Day until like the end of March.
Yeah.
And so from April 1st until August 25th, we do stuff together on the weekends. So, but when I'm going to retire from my quote unquote day job in about 13 months and 12 days, but who's counting? Then it's going to be, I'll be able to get out and go to more games. I want to go to watch a Mud Hens game in Toledo. So bad. I hear such great things about Fifth Third Ballpark down there. So I haven't been there. So that's on a bucket list of mine. And then, there's so many other ballparks that you guys talked about, you both did, about just being able to sit at a ballpark and talk to people and just look at the setting. And I like to look at the panoramic views, the buildings, the whole bit, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Baseball is special in a way that no other sport is. And, we are fortunate in the fact that aside from the infield regulations and some minor kind of guidelines that they suggest for the outfield, every park has its own unique, what's it called?
Ambiance?
Yeah, exactly. And, different ways that they're designed and links from the home plate to the right field fence, the left field fence, and different things to check out. And so I always I don't want to judge anybody by any means, but when I hear other sports fans say like, yeah, I'm trying to go to all the NHL arenas, I'm like, why though? They're all the same. Like, you've been to one, you've been to all of them. I feel like. So baseball is unique in that way. It gives a lot of unique perspectives based on where you're at. And the fans are just different. They're built different. You're going to follow along for 162 games and hopefully more. So just a very, very special sport for sure.
It is. It absolutely is. We love it. Lou and I do, and I know you do. And if people want to go to see Anna's, what she's produced, please do. Go to baseballbucketlist.com. Take it all in. Leave some information so we can continue to expand what Anna has started for us baseball fans.
Yeah.
Anna, thank you for coming on. I thank you for being patient also.
All right. Yeah.
We really appreciate it. For taking the time. And maybe we got to have you back, talk some more baseball when the season starts. Well, it's fun talking to folks who just love, like we all do, love the game. And maybe I'll think of something else that we could do, really kind of maybe interactive with fans. We can maybe do something like that. Maybe, we'll get more people to leave their bucket list on our chat, something like that. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate it, guys, and had a blast. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Anna, very much. And hey, happy holidays to you.
Yeah, you as well, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, Lewis. Today's the 19th.
Yep. Next week we have
off.
I'll be. You talk about going to a game by yourself. I'm actually going to the Michigan State Spartans hockey game by myself next week.
Well, good. See, it's just I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Great.
This weekend I'm going to Chicago to call some hockey games.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's getting that time of year, Mitch,
I know, Lou.
Where it's, with football season over for me now, hockey takes over. And I am going to do a few high school basketball games.
Good.
Yeah, and then January and February. The team that I cover in football, they've got a basketball team that is very, very good. They've got a chance to go all the way. So it'll be fun to kind of keep an eye on that.
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we are done until after Thanksgiving, folks. How about that?
I know. Enjoy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy the weekend football games. Who does Philly got this weekend?
The Cowboys.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. You play them boys. Well, yeah, you'll bury the Cowboys and we'll bury the Giants for you. So.
And let's see. And Good Friday, it's the Bears. Good Friday. Black Friday, it's the Bears.
Well, I'll be rooting for the Eagles on Black Friday then.
Breaking news. Braves re-signed right-hand pitcher Rafael Iglesias to a 1-year, $16 million contract. And a lot of us are very surprised that Trent Grisham took his qualifying offer.
What about Gleyber Torres, too? I'm glad to see he did that with the Tigers. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that. But I was hoping Trent would be one of those guys the Phillies could pick up.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, wow, what a great show. Chad Durbin was a great guest. It was so much fun, and Anna too. It's we're very blessed to have a couple of great guests tonight, Mitch.
We were so much fun talking to both of them. Two different areas of baseball, which is awesome.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for welcoming us into your homes, on your computers, your laptops, however you watch TVs, however you watch us around the world on the Captain Lou Sports Network. For my tag team partner, Mitch Bernstein, have a happy Thanksgiving, Mitch. And
You too.
everybody else, happy Thanksgiving. And remember, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving. And as always, keep your minds open. So long.